Hello. So now we will go over problems on the benefit cost analysis. Just first to remind you of this method, we said that whenever we consider projects in the public sector that do not aim for profit, we mainly consider that the project is to be considered acceptable if the ratio of benefit to cost is larger than one. Okay, and whenever we talk about benefits, we need to consider the effects on the whole society because in the public sector, the main aim is to provide benefits for the society. Okay, so whenever we want to do the analysis, the economic analysis, the benefit cost ratio is relied upon as a fundamental analysis method for public sector project. It will consider benefits on the society on a larger scale, and it will introduce greater objectivity into public sector economics as a response to the US Congress approving the flood control of 1936. So it was initially initiated in US, and there are several variations of how to calculate this ratio. Now I will introduce for you several formulas, and then we'll do problems on how to calculate this ratio. Okay, now mainly, as the name indicates, it's a ratio of benefit to cost, and we can, whenever we want to use this ratio, we need to have all costs and benefits up to one time. Yani we can all calculate present worth value or annual worth value, or we can forward also to future. But in general, yani present worth and annual worth values are most used. So we are usually familiar with how to calculate present worth value, and we'll see in this in some examples how to calculate also annual worth values. So all we have to do is to divide the present worth of benefits to the present worth of costs. Now, we have sometimes some terms can be, if you want, not very clear where to put them. And for example, let's say we have this benefits. So what do we mean by this benefits? And sometimes if you implement a project, it can affect in a bad way the society. So for example, you can lose possibility of job creation, or you can lose some lands that were good for, for agriculture, etc. So all of these can be these benefits. And in general, to take them into account, what we do is we do not consider them as costs. We consider them, if you want, as, because they are opposite to benefits, so we should subtract them from the numerator. So whenever you have this benefit, you should do benefit minus this benefit instead of adding it to the cost. Maybe one can say that I can consider it as a cost and add it to the denominator. But in general, this is not يعني it's not recommended to do to calculate using this approach. And we'll see together that even if you do this, this will not affect the conclusion. And if you add this benefit to the denominator, or you subtract it from numerator, it will not affect the decision if the project is acceptable or not. It will just affect the value of the benefit to cost ratio. Okay, but as recommendation, we say we should subtract it from benefits. Now, for example, if you consider the salvage value, if you have to consider the salvage value, in general, we subtract it from the denominator because we consider that it's a reduction in cost. So if you have salvage, you put minus salvage value in the denominator. Okay. Now, so even sometimes when we talk about operational and maintenance costs, okay, you have to approach if you want, whenever we want to do calculation. One approach considers that in the denominator, I will put all costs, of course, including the initial investment and operational and maintenance cost. However, another modified approach consider that I will consider only initial investment and salvage value in the denominator, and all other yearly payments, I can consider them in the numerator. So we'll discuss all of these, and depending on the question, I can tell you use the conventional method or use the modified method to calculate the benefit to cost ratio. Okay. So now, in all cases, whatever, if you want, if you want to consider them in numerator or denominator. The decision guideline is really simple, and wherever you put these terms, this will not affect your decision, because if B over C is larger than 1, you can consider that you can accept the project, it's economically justified for the estimates and discount rate applied, while if B over C is smaller than 1, then you can consider that your project is not economically acceptable. So as we said, the first conventional way to account for a benefit to cost ratio is to do benefits minus disbenefits over costs. And in this equation, disbenefits are subtracted from benefits and not added to cost. The ratio could change considerably if the disbenefits are regarded as cost. And for example, if we take just a simple example, if we consider the following numbers, 10, 8, and 5, as present worth for benefits. So if you consider that for benefits, it's 10. For this benefits, it's 8. And for costs, it's 5. If we use the following formula, 10 minus 8 over 5, we obtain 0.4. If we decide now to consider the disbenefits as additional costs and we add them to the denominator, then the value will be 10 over 13. So as you can see, we have difference in values, but both are smaller than 1. So both will give you the same conclusion about to accept or not. So here you will reject the project for both calculations. Okay. Now, but in general, we consider that the correct, if you want, method is to subtract these benefits from benefits and not to add them to costs in the denominator. Now, what about the modified approach? So as I told you, in this conventional approach, in costs here, we include everything related to cost, initial investment, operational and maintenance costs, and we subtract salvage value. Now, in the modified approach, we consider that these annual values of operation and maintenance cost will be subtracted from numerator, okay? And then you will end up with the following formula. So if they tell you calculate the ratio of benefit to cost based on the modified approach, you do benefits minus disbenefits minus operational and maintenance cost over the initial investment. And if you have a salvage value, just if you have it, you subtract it from the denominator and you put here initial investment minus salvage value. So this is the general formulas, the conventional and modified one. Okay. Now, as we have seen in last time, one of the main disadvantages of this method is that we need to monetize everything. And sometimes some benefits cannot be monetized. That's why in this case, we can use an alternative approach to evaluate, if you want, a project, which is the CEA approach. And as we said, okay, for the cost effectiveness analysis, the whole idea will be to divide, if you want, we can consider everything that can be monetized as cost, and everything that if you have aspects that cannot be monetized, you can treat them as effectiveness measure. And for example, the number of saved lives, the reduction in CO2 emission, etc. So all of these factors that cannot be monetized can be selected as effectiveness measure. And to calculate the CER, here CER is, if you want, in this chapter means something else, which is cost effectiveness ratio. So the cost effectiveness ratio is equal to the equivalent total cost over the total of the effectiveness measure, as we'll see in the coming problems. Okay, so now we'll apply these methods in calculation. Let us start with the first problem. So in the past, the Afram Foundation has awarded many grants in order to improve the living and medical conditions of people in war-torn and poverty-stricken countries throughout the world. In a proposal for the Foundation's Board of Directors to construct a new hospital and medical clinic complex in a deprived Central African country, the project manager has developed some estimates. So here, this is a project implemented by public sector in order to benefit society, and we want to judge if it's economically viable or not. So we just have to calculate the ratio of benefit to cost. Now, what are benefits and cost? We'll see in the coming paragraph. So these are developed, so she states, in a manner that does not have a major negative effect on prime agriculture land or living areas for citizens. So as we mentioned, for example, to construct this hospital, you need to select a certain location, and maybe because of the land used, you will take a certain part of the land, and then this will affect in a bad way agriculture. So you need to consider this as this benefit. Okay, while for benefits, you will consider, of course, the hospitality opportunities for people, so and all advantages they can benefit from. So the project is awarded by $20 million, divided in the following way: end of first year, decreasing by $5 million per year for 3 additional years. And then the project annual costs are 2 million per year for 4 years as proposed. So first we can consider that this is our investment. Okay, this is the award. Okay, so it's the investment that we are putting in the project. Now, whenever we say initial investments, this does not mean that we have, if you want, to pay it once at year zero. But sometimes the award or the fund can be divided into years, but it's considered, if you want, as the main fund of the issue, which is different than other operational and maintenance costs. So here, when we talk about initial investment, this is the initial investment, but it's not paid here at year zero. It's the award that is divided into over years. Okay, so they said that at the end of the first year, we will pay $20 million, and this will be decreased by $5 million per year for 3 additional years. So let's say for year one it's 20, for year two it's 15, for year three it's 10, etc. And the project, this is about the fund. Okay, now the project annual costs are $2 million per year for 4 years. So as we said, until here, this describes investment. So this is for investment. Now, second statement is for costs. So here, the project annual costs are $2 million per year for 4 years as proposed. So these are costs, annual costs. Now, it is expected to have a reduction of $8 million per year in health-related expenses for citizens, and $0.6 million per year for removal of arable land and commercial districts. So here, okay, you have in this same sentence, you have advantages and disadvantages. So you have benefits and disbenefits. So this project will lead to a reduction of $8 million per year in health-related expenses, which is good. So this is for benefits. While at the same time, because of the implementation of the project, okay, we'll have some expenses, losses, okay, due to removal of arable land and commercial districts. So this is a negative effect on society. So this is a disbenefit. And now we want to use the two methods, the conventional and modified benefit to cost methods, in order to determine if this grant proposal is economically justified over a 4-year study period. They said that we need to use a discount rate of 6% per year. So this is A. And they want us to use annual worth values in the analysis. Whenever they say we need to use annual worth values, so all costs, all benefits, even investment should be presented in annual worth value. What do we mean by this? So in general, whenever they tell you to get present worst value, all costs, you should take them back to present. Okay? While now, for each, and you can consider that for each year, you should estimate the different costs, benefits, etc. But you can tell me sometimes the initial investment is paid once at year zero. How can I consider annual worth for a certain payment which is only paid at zero? It's really simple. You have an equivalence between the two, okay? Because if you have, let's say, a cost C that is paid each year annually. Okay, so the value of it is the annual worth. And when I tell you you should pay $4 million per year as a cost, this is the annual worth of this cost is 4. Now, in case you have the investment that is paid, let's say at year zero, and you want to find what will be the equivalent cost of investment, you can just use the formula in the opposite way. And in general, you say, if I have a cost to pay each year, if I want to take it back to present, what is the formula that I use? So the present worth value of this cost will be summation from 1 to n of this cost over 1 plus a to the power I, okay? And we have developed together that if you consider this cost, it's a constant value, I take it outside of the summation. So it's equal to the cost times 1 plus a to the power n minus 1 over a times 1 plus a to the power n. So now you can say, I can do exactly the opposite, okay? So this cost represent, this is the annual worth, okay? So you can say now, if I have the present worth value and I want to deduce the annual worth value, all I have to do is to say that the annual worth value of this investment is equal to the present worth value times a times 1 plus a to the power n over one plus a to the power n minus 1. Okay, so we can have an equivalent value of annual worth of a certain investment. So in general, you can use for all costs and benefits, or for all you use the present worth value, or for all you use the annual worth value. Okay, so now all we have to do is to tabulate, if you want, our given. So what we know is that we have 4 years, year 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, for the basic award, even the award is not given in one step. In the description of the problem, okay, they said that the basic award is $20 million, but it's reduced with years. So for year 1, at end of year 1, it's a 20, so no reduction. Reduction will start from year 2. They said that the reduction is $5 million per year. So the reduction in year 2 will be 5. The reduction in year 3 will be 10. And the reduction in year 4 will be 15. Okay? So you can say, if you want, that since already the basic award is paid annually, so the basic award annual worth is 20. But because the reduction value is changing, and each year you are reducing $5 more million. Okay, so you can say that this reduction, okay, will accumulate with years. So it's not a constant value, because each year I will add a reduction of 5. That's why we need to compute the annual worth value of reduction. Okay, so what is the annual worth value of reduction? To do this, it's very simple. All we have to do, okay, we can say the following. Let us estimate the present worth of reductions to be able, because whenever you calculate the present worth of reduction, okay, you can do for each year, you can then do their summation. So when you do the sum of all present worth reduction, you can then deduce what will be the annual worth of a reduction in average, if you want. Okay, yani you say that now I have, for example, for year 0, it's 0. So, of course, the present worth value of 0 is 0. For 5, since this reduction occurs in year 2, so the present worth of the first reduction is just 5 over 1 plus a to the power 2. And the discount rate is 6%. So, over 1.06 square. Okay. Now, for year 3, the reduction is $10 million. So if I want to get the equivalent present worth value, it's equal to 10 over 1.06 to the power 3. And finally, for year 4, I do 15 over 1.06 to the power 4. Okay. And now I am able to get the net value of present worth reduction. So if I do the summation of these numbers, I get that in total, the total present worth reduction of the award over 4 years is $24.727 million. Okay, so now if you want, it's like I converted it to an investment at year, an equivalent investment at year, reduction of investment at year 0. Okay, so now I am able to compute what will be the annual worth rate for this total reduction. Okay, so the annual worth value of reduction will be computed by just using the formula here. Since I evaluated the present worth of total reduction, and I want to deduce the annual worth of total reduction. So I can find that this is equivalent to having an annual worth reduction of total value divided by 1.06 to the power 4 minus 1. So as you can see here, we are applying this formula, times the rate, which is 0.06, times 1.06 to the power 4. So this is equivalent to have a reduction of $7.136 million per year. Okay, so now we can say that the annual worth of the award is constituted by the basic award minus the annual worth reduction, which is $7.136 million. So the annual worth of the award will be $12.864 million. So we are done with the annual worth of the award. And this was the most challenging part. Why? Because all of other costs are given in annual worth value. Because when I tell you, for example, when I tell you the following, okay, when I tell you, for example, that the project annual costs are 2 million per year for 4 years, so this is the annual worth of the cost. It's done. When I say it's expected to have a reduction of $8 million per year in health-related expenses, this represents the benefit annual worth, while the disbenefit annual worth is 0.6. So for other values, since they are already given per year, okay, so they are given as annual worth value, so I don't have to do anything because it's already given as annual worth. While I just had to convert, for this statement, it was more challenging because I have the reduction of $5 million each for 3 years. Okay, so now once I have annual worth of all my parameters, so as we said, for the award, I did the calculation. For annual costs, benefits, and disbenefits, it's very straightforward. Now I am ready to apply the two methods to calculate the benefit to cost ratio. So first, for the conventional method, as we said in the conventional method, we consider if you want any operational and maintenance cost as part of cost in the denominator. So we just have to do then benefits minus this benefits. So it's 8 minus 0.6 over summation of the award cost and the annual cost. So we get a ratio of 0.5, which is smaller than 1. So of course we should reject this proposal because we got a result smaller than 1. On the other hand, for the modified analysis, the difference is that instead of considering the annual cost as part of the total cost, we consider that we just put the award or fund in the denominator, and any other annual cost related to operation and maintenance we treat it as a disbenefit. So we do 8 minus 0.6 minus 2 over 12.864, and we get also a value smaller than 1. So as you can see, the way of calculating your ratio will not affect your conclusion. Any question on this before we continue?
Doctor, can you please repeat the award? How we find it?
Yes, of
No, no.
course, Rida. Okay. Look, in general, when I give you a certain cost per year, okay, or I tell you are awarded $10 million per year, if it's constant, it's great. And for each year, okay, let's say I give you an award of $10 million. So the annual worth of the fund will be 10. Okay. Now, in this problem, they said that each year I have a reduction. So for example, let me consider that I want to reduce each year the award by, for example, by 6. Okay. And if I tell you for year, at the end of year 1, I don't reduce anything. I just give you $10 million. But starting from year 2, etc., I will subtract $6 million from the award. And this is cumulative. Yani each year I subtract additional $6 million. So then you can tell me for year 1, the award will be $10 million. Here, let us say 4. Okay. For year 2, I should do 10 minus 4. And for year 3, I should do 10 minus 8. Therefore, the value is not, if you do the difference between the two, you don't have a constant value. So here the fund is 10, here the fund is 6, here the fund is 2. So whenever you have a variable fund, and if you want to deal in a simplified way with, you need to take like an average value if you want. You need to consider an average value that will be equivalent. I want a constant value for the fund that will give me equivalent present worth. This is the idea. Okay. Anna, if I tell you, calculate for me the present worth of this fund. So first, all you have to do is to take these numbers back to present. Okay. And after doing this, I can tell you what will be, if you want, the equivalent annual reduction, any way to have a constant value. Whenever I ask you to find an annual worth value as average, if you want, this means that it will have equivalent present worth value, but instead of having a variable amount for each year, it's like I have a constant amount for each year. And I want to find what is the value of annual worth fund, okay, that will give me the same present worth value of the fund that is divided in this way. Okay, so since the idea is to get what will be the equivalent constant annual worth value, you need to proceed in the following way. First, you say, I have the scheme of my fund. Let me take it back to present. And after I take it to present, I determine what will be the equivalent constant annual worth amount. So if you want to divide in a constant way, what will be the value of this annual worth? Is the method clear now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. You want me to repeat the calculation?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay. So let us see how to do it in this example. So for example, if I tell you the discount rate here is 5%, you start to say, let me first, since this number is already constant, Rida, you can say that the basic amount of the award is constant. So if you want, I have already its annual worth, and the annual worth of the fund is 10. Okay. But what is varying is what? What is varying is the reduction. Because the reduction is varying, I need to take it back to present. Okay. So if I take it back to present, I can say that for this year, okay, I have $4 million. So if I want to take it back to present, what should I do? I should do 4 over 1.05 to the power 2. Okay, so this will be the equivalent present worth of this reduction. Now for year 3, the reduction is 8. So I should add plus 8 over 1.05 to the power 3. Okay, so now you can say that if I sum all of these reductions, I can get what is the total present worth of reductions. Okay, and once I get the total present worth of reduction, I can say what will be the equivalent, if you want, annual worth reduction that can be subtracted in an equal way for all years, in a way to give me the same present worth value. Okay, so all I have to say that this total present worth reduction can be is equal to the summation of a constant annual worth rate, okay, from year 1 to year n over 1 plus a to the power I. So if I want to do this reduction in a constant manner for different years, what should be the value of the annual worth of reduction? Okay, so here you have the total present worth. You need to deduce the equivalent annual worth rate. Okay, so you replace the total value here by 4 over 1.05 square plus 8 over 1.05 cube, and then you replace now your summation. The summation, geometrical summation, can be replaced. You take the annual worth reduction in factor, and you will have inside of your summation of 1 over 1 plus 8 to the power I. So since your discount rate is 5%, so you should do times 1.05. If here you are doing the analysis for 3 years, okay, so to the power 3 minus 1 over 0.05 times 1.05 to the power 3. Okay, and then once you do this, you want to calculate AWR. So you take these terms to the other side, and you can calculate what is the equivalent constant amount of annual worth reduction per year. Okay.
Yes, clear. Thank you.
Okay. Now, they asked, since the project was not found to be profitable, we don't say if you want profitable, because we don't aim for profit in economic analysis, but we aim for if you want benefit for society. So we can consider that it's not an acceptable project because the benefits to society are smaller than the cost. So then you can say I can give directly the investment to the society. They will gain more. So I will not accept to have a benefit smaller than costs. Okay, so I will say this project is not acceptable. So I need to do modifications in order to have it to make it economically viable. So for example, they are asking us determine the minimum value of benefits per year that will make the proposal justified. Okay, so you say to have a justified proposal, what is the condition? The minimal value of benefit over cost should be 1. And also here we can use both methods. We can use the conventional approach or the modified approach. We'll see together that both will give us exactly the same result. Okay, so if you say, if I go back to my analysis here, okay, if I use the first method in the conventional analysis method, what was the formula? So benefit over cost equal to 1, okay, equals. So now we are asking what should be the minimum value of benefit. So B minimum to be determined, okay, minus the disbenefits, which are 0.6. So in the conventional method, as we said, we put all costs, including investment, operation, maintenance in the denominator. So it's for the investment, it's 12.864. For the annual costs, it's 2. Okay. So now we say to have this ratio equal to 1, the value of B minimum should be in a way that B minimum should be equal to 0.6 plus 12.864 plus 2. Okay, so we can get the minimum value of benefits from this method. If we use the modified method, okay, the modified equation, so we'll have the following. So also B over C should be equal to 1. But now, as we said, in the modified approach, we consider we subtract operation and maintenance costs from numerator. So the equation will be B minimum minus 2.6 over 12.864 should be equal to 1. And this will give you a value for B minimum. So B minimum should be 2.6 plus 12.864. So of course it will be the same result. Okay, so that's why we say we have different approach to calculate the ratio, but at the end all conclusions will be the same. Okay, because if you compare the two approaches, they will give you for both cases you will get the same value of B minimum. So here you just have the summation of these two is 2.6, so it's completely equivalent. Okay, so from both approach we have that the minimum benefit required to make this project profitable is to gain $15.464 million as benefits for society. Any question on this problem?
دكتور هلا البنفيت لايك يعني شو استفدت من السيفنج والريدكشن؟
شو benefits and what are, if you want, the advantages that you will give to society by implementing the project. So here, what is your project is to build a hospital. And in general, when you build a hospital, you can